some point you gotta decide for yourself who you're gonna be. Can't let nobody make that decision for you.
I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
I'm Matt. Okay. No, and I'm Matt. Nice to meet you. Oh my god. Yeah. It's all good. Oh, well, it's just another Nexus event. It's all right. Oh, you hate to see it. Ooh,
Quentin Tarantino. I mean,
spicy
I
takes,
I
spicy
like
takes.
this guy to some extent. I was listening to Quentin Tarantino on the Joe Rogan podcast, right? And he was just so douchey. Like, honestly, do people really know this guy or like listen to what he's saying? You think you're the greatest thing to ever fucking touch Earth, don't you? I mean, guys like him and Martin Scorsese are like everything I hate about the industry, where they're just a bunch of has-beens who cry about anything that's new, CGI or whatever. And it's like, dude, maybe you should adapt to the time.
In- Indeed, indeed. Whew, I'm doing pretty well. We got 4th of July weekend coming up. Half day tomorrow at work. Long weekend, you know. Uh, Feeling pretty good. And very excited to get into this episode. I think this, for me, this is one of the better ones. Maybe even the best. Ooh, I know it's wild. It's been a lot of Thursdays for a long time. We're gonna be coming up on our 1 year soon. It's kind of indeed, and also when you're marathoning Harry Potter, that's for sure. Hell yeah. Oof. Hell yeah. Yes, sir.
Is it hell? Am I dead?
Not yet. But you will be unless you come with us.
The
Oh my
alligator.
god.
The
This is-
alligator.
I can't. I can't. That thing. It actually took me a whole day
I
to figure
did?
out that that was an alligator because it happened so
yet.
quickly. I watched the show
you-
from like my bed.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell, and then I saw like it's an alligator with a Loki crown.
I
That's the
know. It's
funny
just
thing.
so perfect, isn't it? What
I
was your
know.
initial thoughts when you saw this?
Oh, when I saw this, I was like, I need more. I was like, I have to. Literally, my first thoughts was I have to fucking wait a week to see what happens next, because I was just so excited. It gave me like gave me those Rick and Morty vibes. They're really leaning into the multiverse, and I'm just ready to go. What about you?
I was thinking about how in that first episode we saw all those different versions of Loki, and I was like, which one are we gonna see? So I was definitely excited about that. In the credits, they titled each of them with different names as well, which is interesting, like the child
Yeah.
Loki, the original Loki. I was wondering if that like Loki costume that you see,
Yeah.
the older gentleman wearing, was that like the original costume of Loki or something?
Yeah, that guy's listed as classic Loki,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he's supposed to be like the original, like the Stan Lee colorful version within the comic books, because like it's very popping greens and yellows.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a callback to like the original incarnation. But it's I don't know, it's just too funny.
The whole thing is just super goofy, and I love that the kid's in the front too. I've
Yeah.
been waiting for a while too, because like we've seen all the promos. It's not really a spoiler for anyone, I don't think. We've seen all this promo where Loki has a little button on him. You've seen like people with these hats and like
Yeah.
Vikings, and it's like one of these people gonna get my audio
Yeah.
is f***ing up for some reason.
No, sorry about that. Sounds good for me.
Um, but yeah, so we've just been wondering when those people were gonna enter in, and it seems like
Yeah.
here we go. This is the entrance, right?
Yeah. Seems like we're in the fun house now.
Right.
Like all bets are off.
Exactly.
So I think the show's just gonna get even better from here, which is saying a lot.
I agree. But all right, so what did you guys think about that final scene, that post scene, I guess you call it? Let us know in the comments below, and we'd love to know more. And I'm definitely excited for the next episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's the way the ball bounces. Yeah. Next Level Gaming says your audio's out for him.
Hello. There we go. Yeah, my audio
I can
for
hear
some
you.
reason anyway is like being a little funky.
Hmm.
That's all right. Those are the growing pains. If you guys want to help us, why don't you donate some money here, help us out, so we can have some legitimate equipment. But
Indeed.
I think it's okay for now. It sounds like it's cutting for me a little bit. Hold on.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm only getting the Skype feedback, so I can't really tell.
It might just be honestly from me, like in my headset. I can't really tell, but
Yeah, it could be.
because it sounds okay on the stream, I think, from what I just listened to. And if it sounds okay to you, I guess I'll just keep going.
Oh, yeah, you sound fine on the stream for me.
Your cat.
Yeah, fucking sorry about that. Leo was like screaming for attention. One sec.
That's adorable.
Jesus, he's like speaking words now.
I love it. I love it. This is chaos.
Yeah, he's like speaking in like eldritch tongues. I'm like, what the fuck?
Poor little guy. Just misses his mom. That's
Yeah.
all.
I know he does. He's lonely.
All right.
But yeah, so for all those that are joining us, we got a few people down here below. Ghoul Girl, shout out Next Level Gaming, Nightbot, Moobot, Streamlabs, The Circle Club. Thanks for joining us, and let's just, as we were saying before, we're this is Loki episode 4, and we're just gonna get right into like what were our favorite parts.
Sure. So let's see. Man, this episode had a lot, but
It's hard to pinpoint one thing.
I know it really is. Why don't we let you go first? All right. I think I liked your topic a little bit more, so I'm gonna let you jump in there. So,
Oh hell yeah,
Matt, what was your favorite part from episode 4 of Loki?
So mine had to be Mobius, like the scene where Mobius frees Loki. And it's revealed that the rest of the TVA is kind of like waiting for them. Like the jig is up.
Yep.
So and Mobius has to like stand up to Ravonna Renslayer, which is also I finally figured out that's what her name was, and it's the coolest fucking name ever. And but like the entire episode, you like watch him slowly uncover the truth based off of what Loki like said to him.
Yeah.
And that entire sequence is really compelling to me because the entire time Mobius has kind of almost been that beacon of humanity
Mm-hmm.
for the show. It's like he's just a person that wants to do right by
Whatever
the
the
world
order
around
is.
him. Exactly, and those that are closest to him, and you see that through his, he's really concerned about what happened to C20, and
Mm-hmm.
when he uncovers that truth, that kind of like solidifies it.
Yeah, that was
So
a
when
nice
he,
moment. I thought when the how he broke down finding the truth and he went through all these elements, and you could
yeah,
see in the back of his head he was still like, I don't know if I could trust this Loki, but there was just some type of push in the universe telling him just trust your instinct, which is interesting.
exactly, and I think that a big hint at that was when he refers to the other variant as Sylvie in his conversation with Ravonna. You know, she's like Sylvie, like, oh, it's the other variant's name. Like that's kind of him. That's like a hint at him accepting that truth.
Right.
So that scene was like really good, and then he comes and helps Loki. He says some great words to him. But my favorite part, was when the jig is up and they like all got the pruning sticks out, and he says, and the line where he says, you know where I could go if I could go anywhere, and that's like a callback to his conversation, but with Ravonna earlier, and he says, wherever it is I'm really from, and like that gives me chills even saying it, but it was such a beautifully defining moment for the character.
Yeah.
And what happens after that fucked me up like real bad. So that just that
Well, this
moment
is
of
a
him kind of
spoilers
standing the
episode,
face.
so you could tell them what happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like literally right after that, he is pruned by the TVA, which up until this point we thought was just death. That's when they stick you with the sticks and you
Yeah.
evaporate. So we're like, he just stood up for himself and what he believed in and his friend, and then he died. He died as a result of that.
Well, we don't
So that was
actually
just like,
know.
oh yeah, that's what I was doing the
Yeah. Well,
quotations.
he could
I
be
think
dead.
that is true,
We
but I
don't know.
think, but that part for me was just like,
Yeah.
that was a heartwarming moment. What about yourself?
Yeah, so my favorite part for this was with Hunter B15. I thought, well, this is one of my favorite parts of the show. I thought she did an amazing acting job in that scene where you see her and Sylvie, and Sylvie's like kind of. It's funny because you chose a similar situation, but with
Yeah,
Mobius. But for me, it was like you saw her uncovering, and we hadn't seen anything but this like brute soldier up until that point.
yeah,
So it was really cool to see like this side character get a chance to really show their acting chops.
yeah.
And I heard some people say it was kind of a callback to Blade Runner, where she's in the rain and there's tears, but you can't tell if it's tears or
Oh
rain.
my god, I didn't even get that. That's one of my favorite scenes of all time.
Yeah,
Fuck,
yeah.
god damn, and it all has to do with memories too, which is
Right,
fucking wild.
right.
Shout out
So
to them, goddamn.
yeah, so that was a really cool moment for me, and even though we couldn't see those memories, like you could feel the emotion going through her like body, and you kind of like it felt like for me, I was like in my head, the memories I saw was like her and her mother or something, and like being
Yeah.
close with her family and like eating a meal or something like that, and I'm sure everyone had their own, and I thought it was a cool cinematic moment because I was like, typically in books you get that where you get to imagine your own version
Hmm.
of it, or when a TV show or movie leaves you on a cliffhanger, you kind of get to complete the ending. But I thought that was cool that in that moment we all got to kind of decide what were those memories that she was reminiscing on.
Indeed, yeah, I
and
agree.
and then from just a plot standpoint, I really liked when Mobius told Loki that he can be whoever he wants and he doesn't have to be bad. I
Yeah.
thought that was nice as well because that's been my long-standing theory that like I don't think all Lokis are bad. I think it's actually the opposite. They all start bad potentially and then they end up good. And this kind
Mm,
of put a little bit of more salt into that theory that I got going on. And that was
yeah, no, I think that was a good one.
and one part that kind of confused me with that though was when Mobius was saying you could turn into anyone or whoever, and we'll get into that a little bit later with the predictions. But
Yeah.
that scene was definitely the defining scene, and it seems that you liked it as well.
Agreed, yeah, and to quickly touch on your thing, I loved how two characters could come to the same resolution but separately.
Right.
They didn't really like he only said the one thing about, yeah, Loki said the TVA is all variant, or like the TVA is lying to us.
Yeah.
and then B15 goes off and does her own thing. The agency that they've given these characters was something you don't usually see, so it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. All right, so that was our favorite parts from Loki episode 4. Comment below, let us know what you think. Subscribe and send to your friend. All right, so with good comes bad. Were there any scenes that you didn't really like in this episode or that were kind of iffy for you?
Yeah, not many, but the one that this is just a nitpick thing, and I think it's kind of been an extension of the entire show a little bit. I thought the final fight scene like at the top of the elevator with the timekeepers, I thought it was just poorly choreographed. It really wasn't that like interesting to me. It just kind of it felt very sloppy, and I feel like the strength of the show isn't in those fight scenes, and that's why I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. Like what's important is the characters and the dialogue. So it just felt kind of janky. Didn't really. It was just kind of it's so.
No, I get that. I kind of felt the same where I felt like I was kind of watching this cheesy fight, and it was like a lot of sticks, and it was kind of like, gah. But in the back of my head too, I was thinking, I was like, yeah. But in the back of my head, I was like, I don't really know if I think of choreography and fighting with Loki. He's kind of more of like, let me get out of this situation kind of fighter.
Yeah.
So it was a bit sloppy. Kind of reminds me, we always talk about in Star Wars, right, where it's like Rey, her fighting in choreography for some time was too good. So I thought this was kind of that opposite, but it did feel like they had no chance of beating these people who were super trained, but yet it kind of just happened. So I totally agree with you.
Yeah, what about you? What stuck out to you?
For me, there wasn't much I disliked. I actually really thought the entire episode was really strong. I didn't like that red room scene so much, or the red door. Some people did like it. Jamie Alexander, she returned. I believe she was in Thor Ragnarok as Lady Sif.
Oh, she was in all the Thors, I believe.
Was she? Yeah, see those
yeah,
movies.
She's one of his like main buddies.
Yeah, those movies came out so long ago. It's like hard to even like pull those memories sometime. But
I don't even know any. I know he has a cast of like buddies. I don't know any of their fucking names.
I know, yeah. But that's a testament to Marvel, like how far we've come, I think. But we can still be super compelled by some of these characters. I'm personally gonna always remember her from Kyle XY. I don't know if you guys remember that show.
So the one with the guy without the belly button.
Yeah, that's
so weird.
Big throwback there. But so like whenever I see her, like that's the first thing I think of. I know it's a really niche show,
That's
but
fair.
yeah. So, but anyways, that was what I didn't really like so much, and I thought in that scene how it kept repeating, it went on too long, and I thought they wanted us to feel like time had elapsed a lot for Loki. But I think they knew they were kind of on a minutes restriction, so it didn't really. I wasn't really getting that personally. I was like, because he even says he's like, "All right, we've been at this for hours," and I'm like, "Yeah, you're telling me that, but I'm not really showing,"
Yeah, and it's also kind of like he was basically saying what we were feeling. We're like, all right, okay, we've kind of seen this before.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree. It was kind of a scene. It was funny at first.
Yeah.
And then when you realize that he can't actually, it's just a memory. He can't like do anything with the memory. You're just like, he's just stuck here until the plot needs him to be somewhere else.
And I'm like, we're also stuck here.
Facts.
But yeah, I mean, for the rest of the episode, I did really enjoy. I can't really think of anything else off the top of my head that I didn't love, other than basically what you said. But
Indeed.
Let us know down below, what scenes did you not like in Loki episode 4? Was there character? Was there a particular moment? Did you find the romantic tension kind of cringy? Let us know. Comment below and subscribe.
Hell yeah.
Alrighty. So, the fun part of the show, predictions. So, what do you have to predict? Now that we've seen Loki episode 4, we've kind of given our opinion on it. What are your next big predictions? I'm very curious to know that you could bring something forth that I haven't already, because let me tell you something.
Oh, man.
I got to pat myself
God. Hey,
on the back.
You know what? I was actually about to give you your flowers. I was actually about to congratulate you.
I knew you were going to, because I am the TVA.
Ah, fuck.
No, but go ahead.
Get
Seriously.
pruned. No, I was about to say, we got to bring attention to the fact that this man's been killing all of his predictions. I would also like to pat myself in the back because I said a few episodes ago that I thought the TVA were gonna be some Wizard of Oz type
You
shit.
did.
Didn't realize they'd be Chuck E. Cheese animatronics.
Oh,
But
you
hey,
stole my bit. You
it's
stole
all
my
good.
bit. There you
It's
go.
all good. It's all good. But from what we've learned, now that it's like, defined that the timekeepers aren't real,
Mhm.
but somebody else is controlling all this, I believe that we're going to discover it's less to do with who it is, but I believe we're going to discover that the TVA was actually formed to track down Lokis across timelines because since they're like the gods of mischief, they're very unpredictable
Yep.
and they're hard to trace and track. And I believe that it's once that Loki, like you said, all Lokis are supposed to become good at the
Yeah.
end, and those that survive in their timelines, I think those are the biggest threat to whoever's in charge of anything. So he goes around, he sends people around, he or she sends people around the timelines to capture them and bring them all to one
Yeah.
place. And we're gonna find out like what that big plan is.
So
In regards to name, oh, go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say to piggyback off that, I definitely could see that happening because clearly when you brought two Lokis together, that created some nexus type of event, and I think that we're all thinking that there's a romantic chemistry there, but I think it's just really any chemistry potentially between two Lokis, and I think this place where Loki's been shipped away looks like friggin' Afghanistan. No, but it's actually what it actually is. I believe is New York after Thanos had killed Loki.
Oh my
Yeah, I
god!
think it's
What?
so. That's my prediction. What it kind of looked like. I don't know if they'll actually answer
Dude, it
that
looks like the new Call. It looks like the new Call of Duty Warzone map, if you ask me.
because you can see Stark Tower in the back, but it's not like.
Oh shit!
Yeah, we'll have to
Man,
pull
I
that
didn't
up at some
notice.
point. I'll in post I'll add it, but you can actually see Stark Tower in the back. So I think to your point that there is some type of thing going on, and maybe this place
Mhm.
where these Lokis are currently being put is like where they finally get executed. What I'm curious about is why don't they just execute them there? But perhaps it goes back into the whole thing that Loki can't die because he always comes back.
Mm. That's crazy. So it's better to just keep them somewhere where they can't escape
Right.
than to try and kill them.
Exactly.
Which is funny. It's funny if they actually come up with like a logical explanation for like why Loki's died 1,000
Yeah,
times and comes back.
exactly.
But yeah, and then on top of that, it's just I heard names float around like Kang the
Yep.
Conqueror, who I just learned about, and I know before everyone freaks out about Mephisto again. Kang the Conqueror is actually he's kind of like, for those who've watched like DC, he's very similar to Brainiac in the
Ooh.
sense where Brainiac is like an alien that travels the universe, shrinking places and stealing cities and stuff. Where Kang the Conqueror travels through time and kind of collects trinkets. And I think that's why some people thought like Ravonna Renslayer might be like aligned with him because she has kind of a collection of items,
Yeah.
but on a smaller scale. And Kang the Conqueror is said to be a villain in one of the future projects, I believe, the Ant-Man and the Wasp, I think Quantumania or something.
Yeah.
So it kind of lines up there. I don't really know how it goes because it's all up in the air.
Yeah.
But lastly, I think that there is intimacy between Loki and Sylvie, and that it's a metaphor for Loki developing self-love and coming to accept himself, both literally and metaphorically.
Yeah, that's interesting because the last episode or the episode before, I kind of touched on that where I said he's a narcissist and so he loves himself, and he actually ends up saying that in this episode, which is interesting. But I like how you are looking at that from a perspective of positivity, and I do think that makes sense where it's like about self-love. That makes a ton of sense because she's kind of like this different version of him. And what's interesting with Sylvie too is like I was wondering why did the TVA take her out of the timeline? And she says this whole line about saving Asgard, and I think to play back into your prediction and theory that perhaps this Loki was going to be a good Loki, which goes back into my theory that they all turned out good, and perhaps that's not what the TVA wants or
Exactly.
TVA.
The scene of her actually, she's actually playing with a Valkyrie, like a
Mm-hmm.
doll that's supposed to represent the
Yeah.
Valkyries, who are the female war fighters for
Mm-hmm.
Asgard, the legendary
On the
fighters.
horses and all.
So yeah, so I'm like, that would have been really fucking cool.
Yeah.
But what about you, man? You got any hot takes, any cool mind bombs
So
for us?
I've been giving like pretty good takes and predictions on this.
I
So
don't mean to toot my own horn, but
I am going to toot my own horn. I've done great, which is why you guys should subscribe, because we
you
have the
should.
best takes, honestly. And
Exactly.
you know why we have really good takes? It's because we're not big into we're into the comics and stuff, but like we're not reading it like everyone else. We're not like making all
Mhm.
these crazy theories. So we're just watching it as two guys who love television and movies. And because we're putting
Indeed.
those pieces together, we don't have that like bias that a lot of these other big YouTubers do. Um,
Indeed.
and so our perspectives, not that the other people's perspectives aren't fresh and fun. Like I really love New Rock Stars and a couple of other different pages, but I think our perspective is kind of from the common man perspective of, hey, we're just watching these TV shows and movies and thinking about, hey, what I want to see, what would I as a fan think would make the next logical sense. So
For sure, yeah.
before I get into my prediction, I just want to say that. So my crazy take that I have is that Mobius
Oh
will
fuck.
come back, obviously, but
I hope
I'm
so.
wondering if he's a Loki variant himself, because
Oh
he said
fuck.
this weird line about you can turn into whoever you want to Loki, and I didn't understand that. I was like, in that moment, I didn't realize that Mobius was gonna die. I thought like Loki was gonna kind of get them out of it by him turning into Mobius, them being confused of like which one is which. But then they just never did anything with it,
Mm.
which I was like, maybe that was just more him giving him like confidence type of thing.
Yeah.
But it was weird because he didn't say you can be whoever you want. He said you can transform into whoever you want, which I was like, maybe transform means something
Mm.
because the whole
That's a good point.
forming into things. But that's my crazy take. My more grounded take is I think we'll see my theory that all Lokis are good in the end come true, but I think there's one Loki that is actually evil and perhaps behind all of this. And I also think that there's going to be some type of council or congress amongst the different Lokis, and I think that
Congress of Lokis.
and I think there's gonna be this congress of Lokis, and they're gonna decide that our Loki is the superior Loki.
The Council of Ricks.
No, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think the reason, just like one quick note on that, and a little bit of pushback. And this goes to my own thing too. I'm curious to see who the big baddie ends up being,
Yeah,
because I think it's usually a short selling when a villain isn't someone that's been kind of like hinted at throughout the episode, throughout the show.
sure.
Like a last minute thing just seems kind of weird. It's like a Kang the Conqueror reveal can be pretty jarring and odd,
Mm-hmm.
but with an evil Loki, and since Loki's been like the source of this,
Yeah.
and like has been like the driving force of this entire thing, we were already given the evil Loki at the beginning with Sylvie,
Hmm.
and there might be room to do another one, but it kind of seems like it would be. I'm a little hesitant to think that it could just be another evil
Let me
Loki,
push
because it
back.
feel like it would just be a retread.
So I think that's interesting that you say that, and I do agree to accept, but I'm just gonna play the devil's advocate. I think the Sylvie was never an evil Loki, though. I think that was
It's like a red herring.
I think that was the perception the TVA wanted us to have. So
Mm,
we actually haven't seen a quote unquote evil Loki, and we see
yeah.
that Sylvie has her actions against Loki were never like evil, mean, or bad, which is why she quickly turned around and was like, "Hey, you're not that bad." It was just kind of more of like this typical Loki thing of I got to protect myself first. But I'm talking, I think there might be a Loki variant out there who is just like, I'm the dominant one. I don't want to work with you guys. Whatever. And again, it's just theory, so who knows? But it is to your point with the King or Kong.
Kang.
Kang. That's kind of a weird name, but whatever. I think Kang if that just kind of pops in, it's fine with me. However,
Yeah.
I do think, again, to my point I was making before I made these predictions, it's like, to us who are just watching this TV show and movie, we don't know who this guy is. So it's like, he just pops up out of nowhere. And I guess, did they
Yeah.
do that with Thanos?
No. The I guess like at the end of Avengers, he was hinted,
Yeah.
and then it was like a 10-year thing.
Right.
It was like almost like 7 years.
So
So
that's why I just think to introduce someone like, hey, this is Kang, it might be a lot. And the other thing too, real quick before we wrap this up, is originally Disney did not know that Disney Plus and the TV shows were going to be what they were. So
true.
I think if they would have invested all this time to put the new quote unquote Thanos into this television show, it might have been a big gamble because we didn't know if this Disney Plus thing was going to take off. So then it's like, all right, now you do Black Widow or whatever, Blade, and this Kang shows up and everyone's like, who is this? You know? So
Yeah. I think I agree. I think that if Kang is going to show up, if Kang is slated to show up in another Disney Plus property, it might work because it kind of might be the through line. But then it kind of, lends you to believe like, okay, how does he get defeated here?
Right.
And how
So
does
he
he go
can't be
into the next
defeated.
thing? He could be defeated or momentarily like disabled, but yeah, I agree with you. But it'll be interesting. Whoever it ends up being, unless it's like a dog shit reveal and they just fall flat on their face at the end. I think it's gonna be a satisfying ending.
I think actually I'd be okay even if we don't really get an ending, and that's kind of part of the ending, but we get this low-key ending and he's happy with himself. What I will say is, maybe this is just the film producer in the back of my head, is we're seeing the Marvel slate. It's in this green, which they never really mess with, and the whole Marvel thing is green. I'm wondering if that's because this is an origin story for a bad guy in the end. So I don't know, like, so maybe that kind of leans more into my theory that Loki does become the ultimate evil Loki. I don't know, and no one knows.
Oh shit!
But I do think, and I've mentioned this before in the previous episodes that we've done, that they're building towards this anti-Avengers type of crew, and who better to lead that crew than Loki? So I guess we'll have to find out. We'll have to find out.
Indeed.
But all right, what predictions do you guys have? Was this fun for you to just play around and have silly ideas back and forth? Are we ridiculous?
If you still think Mephisto is going to be the main bad guy, comment down below why you believe that.
Yeah, and again, with predictions, they're supposed to be fun. Like, people get way too serious about prediction. It's like, it's just supposed to be a fun thing, and you're like, oh, wow, that happened, or it didn't. But I always say, don't get too attached to any theory, even if you read the comics, because it's just supposed to be a fun ride that you're going down. But definitely subscribe. Go ahead, Matt.
I was just gonna say, don't let the expectations ruin your enjoyment of the products at the end of the day.
So again, comment down below. Be kind to each other. If you like something, like it. If you don't, you don't. Don't try to fit in. Just be you. We love you all. Subscribe. Thank you for watching. And yeah. Alrighty, Matty Boy.
Yay.
So let's get some rapid fire topics in here.
Ooh.
So we talked about the final extended cutscene. What did you think about the whole timekeepers being these Chuck E. Cheese animatronics?
I thought it was super silly. The minute I saw them, I'm like, this is bullshit.
Same.
This is absolute bullshit. The dude with the big fucking mustache.
That was hilarious.
I was like, har, har, har.
It was, dude, the first thing, I swear to God, the first thing I thought it was like, did they hire Matt to make this guy?
Ah!
I was like, this looks like something straight out of Mattville. Like,
that's so fucking silly.
Dude, it was so silly.
Mattville coming soon this fall. But nah, it was kind of cool at first. I liked the design, like the blues and the reds. I thought it was like gonna be really cold up there for some reason.
You thought it was gonna be what?
What the hell? I thought it was gonna be cold up there for some reason. Like they were in like an ice box because of all the blue color and the smoke.
Let me see if I can pull up some images while you're going on.
Yeah. the minute the timekeeper started talking, I'm like, oh no, this is all bullshit. This is so silly. But what was really weird is that scene where he says, "You are a child of the timekeeper, Sylvie."
Yeah,
It's like you can fucking hang out or whatever. Like you can come to the
dude.
VIP room, and she's like, "Fuck
You
that!"
just
She threw the
unlocked
knife.
something in my brain. Like I friggin' love this series. Like it's so good.
Mm, yeah, it's wild, bro. I like the mystery. I think the mystery. I really enjoyed WandaVision,
Hmm.
but I think the mystery of Loki has been serving a little better. I think it's been more palatable.
Well, that's what happens, and what we were kind of getting to is that when you get into this niche version of Marvel, where there's time travel and aliens, and they even said vampires, which I was pretty cool because I was like, oh no, like.
Mm,
By the way, why is everyone acting like freaking out about that? Like, oh my god, this confirms Blade. Like, didn't fucking
wait, the
Disney?
movie confirmed
Yeah,
it. They did at the press conference.
yeah.
They literally had Mahershala Ali with a hat on.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like,
Which I am so, dude, I'm so fucking ready for. I keep forgetting he's gonna be Blade and that's coming out.
yeah.
And I'm so excited to hear him just like
Can we watch
say
that
that
together?
first fucking line. Bro, we're gonna watch so many of these
Let me
together.
tell you, when someone from the Moonlight gang gets together, that's when you got to call out the real like Circle Club fans, you know.
Indeed, indeed, yeah. That's when the OGs come out.
But yeah, let me pull this
Holy
image up
fuck.
so you can see real quick. It's so friggin' ridiculous and silly. But it was fun too because you're like, look at this like grand council. This friggin' guy on the left looks like something straight out of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
He looks like the Lorax, bro.
The Lorax!
That ass looks like the Lorax. I speak for the trees and time.
No.
He zaps you.
Oh my god! I can't wait to cut that.
Okay.
Oh boy, but yeah, I know it's just so funny and it's just so silly. You're like, look at these guys. Are we supposed to believe that these guys are like the ones in the end? I'm like, come on. But I did think that line that you said that was particularly interesting, and I feel like I didn't hear a ton of people talking about that. So do you want to like kind of riff on that a little bit, like the whole Sylvie, you're a child of the timekeeper? What did you think of that?
I don't know. She must be like because there's some specific reason why she was snatched from her timeline. Like we were like, what the heck could she have done to like warranted a Nexus event? And I know that Ravonna knows she just was being a sly piece of shit and didn't want to give her the satisfaction. Be like, oh, I forgot.
Yeah, really.
But there's something special about. I think she's gonna end up being like the quote unquote superior Loki.
Interesting.
Like, because
It's time
like,
for a woman.
not dead ass though. But,
Yeah, for real. I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah, and shout out to all the people that actually like read the comics and that remember that it is canonized that Loki's gender fluid and that he consistently like changes genders across.
You mean to tell me Disney doesn't have a woke agenda with the left?
No, they're just using the source material.
My children won't be watching this.
Yeah, your children won't be watching much.
Yeah, dude, your children are gonna be brain dead. So
yeah, at that point.
No, we're kidding. We're joking. It's so silly to me. We joked about this before, the whole bisexual Loki thing. It's like, dude, this is literally the source material. The guy is quite literally gender fluid. He turns into other morphing things.
Yeah. Also, like he's last time I checked, he's not real.
Yeah, literally.
He's a fictional character. He can literally be what anybody wants him to be.
That's the funniest thing about it. Is like it's like Iron Man can't be gay. It's like, but he can. Literally by the stroke of a pen.
Yeah, dead ass, bro. Bro, the next issue could come out and change everything.
Yeah, dude, he could literally be like Kevin Feige could write in tomorrow, like, Loki past scene where he's in a gay club scene and we like learn the origin where he's like, huh, I guess I don't like to deal with nagging women. Oh Jesus, I'm kidding.
Oh shit, save that for the podcast, you son of a bitch. Anyway, so yeah, no, I think I'm interested. I don't really know too much about what that line is gonna
Hmm.
end up being, but it seems it's adding more threads to pull on, bro.
For sure, for sure. But honestly, I do really love this Sylvie character. I know last stream I was saying I didn't like the dialogue between them. It wasn't necessarily about her. I think it was because she was so pushed as this big bad villain. But it goes back to what you said. It was a red herring.
Mm-hmm.
And but I do like the moments she's had, and she's an interesting actress where even if she doesn't say a lot, she still has a presence.
Yeah, indeed. I think, dude, the scene where they bring both of them out and they're about to go to the elevator to like see the
Yeah.
timekeepers, and she turns to him. She's like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like,
I know. You're
ah,
like,
my heart, my
it's
heart.
so weird too because you're
So
like, it's like you want them to be in love because they just have something there, and to me, it's more about like this is the first person who's like not just looked at Loki like, oh, you're gonna do what you always do, or you can't
exactly, yeah.
change and all that. So, and it's weird because it's like it's himself telling himself that, which is why I like your whole idea that it's about self love.
Indeed, yeah. I think it's kind of like there's a sneaky, powerful statement in there.
Right,
This is
exactly.
pretty dope.
But we can.
And I'm just. Oh, go
No,
ahead.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, just from before, I'm just really happy that I'm thinking positively that we're gonna have a happy ending to this series. I'm really excited to see that if this Loki interacts with our current day Thor, and that would just make me and him so happy.
Oh, I just absolutely know Thor is in this. There isn't a outs. You know what? I think no, I'm not gonna say it because I think I know a little spoiler. But I'm not gonna say something, so
Oh fuck!
I'm gonna keep it quiet. I'm
Oh
gonna keep it
man.
quiet. But
Zzz.
I do think you're gonna be very happy with how this ends.
Oh
Now, let me
fuck!
pull up this image if possible real quick, so we can look at that before we get into a little basketball and head out of here.
Indeed.
Also, for my movie fans, do you guys like sports? You like basketball? Let us know because we like sports. We like everything. Honestly, we're very open to many different things. And I feel like
Hmm.
there's some weird stereotype of like, oh, if you're an artist or you like film or you like television, you don't like sports,
Yeah.
which I don't buy that. So
Yeah. Continue to form your own circle here. That's what the club's
for sure,
for.
for sure, we're just everyday people. Shoot, if you like cricket, we'll talk about cricket, man. We're just
Oh,
open to talk
facts.
about anything. But this final scene here with the friggin' alligator, you got this guy on the right.
Ah.
What did you think?
Oh, dude. As I said before, I lost my freaking mind. I lost it even more when I found alligator Loki. I'm like, I need to fucking understand alligator Loki.
So,
Like, where does he come from? And like, how did he just like find a crown and just
oh
became
my god, yeah.
alligator Loki?
Some theorize that the voice we heard at the end was the alligator, which is hilarious. Which I think it wasn't, but that would be
Yeah, I think
incredible.
I think classic Loki is the actual actor that's
Right?
credited with that
Yeah, I
voice
think so
line.
too.
Fuck.
But I love that he has this classic Loki on the right has this gym bag, which is like clearly like an old school gym bag. And like, where did this guy just come from? A workout? It's also funny too because that's what Quentin Tarantino thinks superheroes should look like from the 80s too. Like he was going on about how like, oh, back in the day you had superheroes that looked like this and blah blah blah. But I'm like, dude, look at that outfit. Like it just like imagine wearing that today. It would look so goofy, you know?
Yeah, I am kind of glad we're getting back to the point where these outfits can be super colorful and
Oh, for sure.
flamboyant. So I'm thinking it's it's exciting, but I'm interested to find out more about Kid Loki and like quote unquote boastful Loki is that one to the
Oh, the
left.
Black Loki.
Yeah, he's
Mhm.
like he's listed as boastful Loki, and I'm like, what does that mean? And does he is that a hammer he's holding?
Yes. So that is what I didn't want to say too much about. I think
Hmm.
we may see some type of alternate universe Loki where he was the Thor in that world or something. So he's got a hammer. We're gonna definitely see
Yeah.
some fun stuff coming this next
Yeah,
episode.
I think we're also gonna see some other characters. I still am holding on. I think we're gonna see Hydra Captain America.
Oh
I still think we're
shoot!
gonna see that. I think we're gonna see a Hydra Chris Evans, and we're gonna be like,
What?
"What the fuck?
What?
That's fucked up."
What? Is that just like a random prediction, or do you have any evidence? Or
So I think a while ago, it was a while ago. It was rumored that Chris Evans had like signed on with Disney
Mhm.
again, like after his contract expired, and everyone's like, "What the fuck? What's this?" And he's just like, "I don't know what anyone's talking about," and I'm
uh,
like, "Bruh." So I think he might come back for this, which kind of stinks because like in this day and age, like that kind of like something like some business transaction like that can be like a spoiler for some property, but it's exciting. It's
no,
still
it's
exciting to
like I said about
theorize.
Iron Man, dude. It's like people just gotta take a chill pill, man. Just enjoy it. Like, but if you think about it, right? So it's hard to know what's true because Miss Minute told us you don't go back in time because if you go back in time and we don't say it's okay on the sacred timeline, then you get up here. And so I don't know if that's actually true. So in my head, I was
Mm,
thinking if Captain America went back in time and he wasn't supposed to, do they
yeah.
pull him out of that?
I don't think so. And I also think that the belief that the timekeepers allowed that to
Mm-hmm.
happen is also a lie.
Yeah.
I think that the quantum physics was like, or the Pym particle physics was like too powerful or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and like what the Avengers did was like something that whoever's behind this couldn't control. It was too powerful for them to
Got
control.
it. Um, I do think we're gonna see Thor though, and I think we're gonna see some other people. But yeah, I already told you, man, and I've said it before. Like, I love when shows do this thing where, like, the Jawbreakers and edit. You see, it's like this is what one looks from France. This is what one looks like from Japan, or the
Yeah,
Krabby Patty and
yeah.
SpongeBob, where it's like here's all these
Oh
different
my
color
god.
versions, and like we're getting that with Loki, and it's crazy because like I already knew this was gonna be my favorite Marvel content.
Mm,
Um,
just solidifying it
yeah,
further.
because I'm like, dude, I love that space, that the whole on guard thing, and like the Vikings and Thor, and so it's space and time travel. And now we're getting these different versions of Loki. I'm like,
Yeah, it's just gonna be like, how creative can they get? I
literally,
think that the creativity is just gonna be hilarious. Like, dude, we got a fucking alligator Loki. Like,
we're gonna get a baby
how
Loki.
can it get much better? Baby Loki,
We're
of
gonna get
course, we
baby
have to.
Loki. I just know it. It
Baby
better be.
Loki, just with a little crown,
He's
little
gonna be like
crown.
Infinity Stone.
He's gonna be like,
Yeah,
he's gonna fucking
no,
snap you away.
dude. I see. That's those stupid little moments, like those Disney moments that I absolutely love, though. You know.
God, yeah, that's gonna be too
Yeah,
good.
but all right. So that's just us riffing a little bit on that. Quick thoughts on the Phoenix Suns finals berth and the state of the Eastern Conference Finals. How are you feeling? Like everyone's freaking out about injuries and all that. I've heard a lot of people say the ratings are gonna go down. I mean, the ratings are up. So
Yeah, the ratings are up. I haven't been able to watch too many of the games recently because they're just fucking on too late. I
yeah.
think I'm gonna have the Hawks game on
Mm-hmm.
tonight, just to take a peep, which kind of sucks. At the end of the day, the ring is still a ring. You gotta win the championship. You have to be the one. Every championship is the team overcoming the circumstances of that
Mm-hmm.
season, whether that be competition, whether that be
Yep.
opponents. And to overcome all these circumstances, the COVID protocols, the injuries, the condensed schedule, it's survival of the fittest. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
if you are the fittest, you deserve to be recognized. So CP3 making the NBA Finals to me is I've wanted it since they beat the Lakers. I was like,
Some
fuck
people
it,
might
I'm riding
say,
this.
not me. Some people might say, if David Stern let him get traded to the Lakers, this would have happened 10 years ago because Devin Booker and Kobe
Uh,
Bryant are basically the same guy. So,
I have an issue with that statement,
what's
but
let's hear it.
that's for
No,
another
let's
day.
hear it.
I think Okay, all right. Hot take. I think part of this is gonna be people making fun of me. They'll be like, "Oh, you're just a homer." Part of me, I don't really see. I think the comparison between Kobe Bryant and Devin Booker is very lazy, and I
I
don't
can't
think
wait
it's
to have
a.
Jamie come back on this show and completely disprove you and
I think it's incredibly lazy.
bring you all the footage in the world of him showing you exact same form, the exact same resume, like all of it. But you're
I
open
think
to
people
that.
get too. I think people like that he shoots mid ranges a lot. He scored 70 points in a game, very similar to him, and I think he's 6'5" or 6'6". He might just be Kobe's height.
Mhm.
And then he happened to be like the 13th pick or something. But
See, those are all
I,
really weird points that you chose, like, where it's like
yeah,
his birthday is on Saturday. Kobe's birthday was on Saturday. Like, I mean, the mid range thing is like, well, a lot of guys have mid range. I think it's more like Kobe, LeBron, Kevin Durant, because they've established themselves so far in their career. I think people forget what they were like before they were that person. And if you watch a lot of
yeah.
the footage, a lot of these like plays Kobe would make you be like, this guy has his dick on the ground. Like, what is he thinking? Like, why would you take that shot? You know, but like Devin Booker's literally the same way, where it's like he's just a killer, and the spots he chooses is weird too. Like Devin Booker will be like the only difference I would say with him and Kobe had to get there too, is Devin Booker talks shit, but like the way Kobe talks shit was different, you know.
Hmm.
But I do think
I feel that.
there's some similarity, and
I think there is similarities, but for people to come out and be like, he's like the new, like, obviously, when I say the new, it's not like he's a better version, but
yeah.
it's like, he's like mini Kobe Bryant.
Hmm.
I'm like, I don't really think so. I think that, and this is people are going to, the folks that know are going to like tease me a bit because they're like, oh, you're just a Boston fan. I think Jason Tatum literally has like I've seen him use almost every one of Kobe's signature moves, and I've seen the side by side footage of like everything to like the little weird minute
Hmm.
details, shooting in the same spots on the floor, doing the same kind of like half spin, like inside fakes and stuff. And maybe like I gotta watch some of Devin Booker's videos, but I don't know. Tatum's smoothness to me,
Dude,
it's more reminiscent of Kobe Bryant,
dude,
but that's
the
just me.
reason people are now saying this is because Devin Booker is on the biggest stage you could possibly be. This guy, if you watch his regular season footage, it's like he does not take a night off. Um, the major difference, and I'm even scared to say this on the stream to you, between Devin Booker and Jason Tatum is the it factor. Devin Booker, Tatum, he's still learning that. In my opinion, at least. In
I
my opinion.
I say a major difference is Jason Tatum has proven this season was a little iffy, but Jason Tatum has proven he can be an impact defender and can defend on a nearly elite
Book does
level.
got to get better
Devin
there.
Booker hasn't.
Neither was
Devin
Kobe,
Booker,
though.
I don't
Neither was Kobe.
no. What are you talking about? What are
Kobe
you
wasn't
talking
always
about?
an elite defender.
Kobe Bryant has tied the record for the most first All NBA defensive selections. He has like 9. Like
Kobe
he was
Bryant
one
was
of the
always.
greatest. Kobe Kobe Bryant was a 12-time All NBA defensive player.
All right, I'm
He
gonna
was one
let
of
you
the
have that.
greatest
I
perimeter.
won't dispute
He
that.
was one of the
I'll let you have
most
that.
elite perimeter defenders in the NBA. Like that cannot be contested.
Kobe Bryant's
Maybe
rookies
towards the
in second season and third season, he was an elite defender.
well, his first 2 years he didn't get much playing time because he was one of the first. I'm saying, I mean, like
But
it's
this is
it's
what I'm
objective.
saying. Like Booker is still so young. Like his first few seasons, like if you could throw Kobe's first few seasons out, why can't we throw Devin Booker's first seasons out? He's so young. I think
I only say that because Kobe Bryant's first seasons and Devin Booker's first seasons don't equal because the fact that Kobe Bryant was on very limited minutes as a rookie and a second year player because he was the second generation, like literally the second year of high school players entering the NBA.
mm-hmm.
Him and Kevin Garnett, Kevin Garnett more so because Minnesota was just that shit. But Kobe Bryant and then even Tracy McGrady the following year, they did not get that much playing time, and the coaches did not trust them because people did not yet trust
Young
high
players.
school players.
Yeah.
So I think that's a little different. My thing with
Book does have to get better on the defensive end, but
yeah, my thing is that Kobe Bryant might not have been elite, but he would put in the effort. I don't think Booker's really put in the effort until just recently.
So,
I think that's a big.
I'm reading here that Kobe Bryant's NBA All-Defensive first team, first one he got was in 2000. In 2001, 2002, 2012, he was on the second team. 2003, 2004, and 2006 to 11, he was on the first team. He got drafted in 1996, so he didn't get on a team until the fourth year. So, yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying there. Like,
and all that being said, Jason Tatum still has made an All-NBA defensive team. It's not easy to do, but there's a difference between, like, Kobe Bryant was, like, elite, like, top of the, like, creme de la crop of a defensive player.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Jason Tatum is there, but he's shown that he can be an impact defender on a high level and on a consistent level, and Devin Booker hasn't shown that.
At the same time, Kobe hadn't proven that he was that elite of a scorer either. So I think that, and whether that's he got enough minutes or not is up for debate too, because I think if he would have got more minutes, I think we would have seen that. But long story short is where Booker is right now in his career is, and then when you compare it to where Kobe was, like you said, like it obviously can't be compared, but when Kobe finally got that, I'm looking here, when he first got that first quote unquote start, I think it was a lockout season, it looks like.
Might have been. I think
so. Yeah. So that was when he first got his big break, and then the next season they won and got a championship. But again, he had Shaq too, so that makes it a little easier.
The thing is that when Shaq won when Kobe won the championship, the following year was his like superstar year. That's when he broke out as like a full superstar.
Well, he was a superstar that year too. Like, don't get it twisted.
Oh yeah, no, he was a superstar, but like he would go from like being like fucking one of the best people in the league, like top, like top 1%. So I think like, you know, Booker has that. He has the potential to do that. I don't think you necessarily need to be a high impact defender in this league to be one of the best. Like James Harden is an example of a superstar that I know you don't consider him one, but a superstar that doesn't need to rely on defense. Tatum, I think Tatum has just a higher ceiling than Booker. It has to, and he's also younger than him, which is crazy.
So other than his first season, has never averaged less than 22 points. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
I mean, that's really elite. I do think the other issue, like I was saying, is it's like, who is he playing around? Like, this is the first time that he's had a competent person in Chris Paul around him. And I had to, like, who was on this team before that you could really say, like, oh, they were going to compete for the championship. Last year they tried to make that run, but that was primarily behind him, I thought. And
was definitely behind him.
Yeah, so which is again a lot to give some. It's kind of similar to Tatum as well. Like Tatum was really young, and like for him to have to take down the Nets and all these other teams, it's a lot to ask in someone's earlier seasons, you know.
Yeah. Even last year in the bubble, like having to beat a streaky Miami Heat team in the conference finals when your point guard was nothing more than a paperweight in Kemba Walker. Sorry, not sorry.
Jesus, you're gonna let that go?
He was just a training cone out there. Couldn't shoot, didn't score anything, and didn't stay in front of anybody. So
let Kemba live, man. He's gone. Okay.
Oh, yeah, no, he's fine.
Let me read a couple of the top defensive players that the league has honored over the last couple of years.
This could be Rudy Gobert.
Trash. It's crazy to me. I feel like LeBron. I can't remember the last time LeBron's won one of these. And you can say, "Oh, whoops." his defense has gone down. He's had years where he was playing defense and didn't get it. Okay.
He was amazing last year defensively. Just crazy.
Well, the thing is, before he got hurt this year, according to the analytics and stats, he was like one of the best defenders. So
yeah, like win share percentages and shit. Like, damn.
So in 2014 to 15, we have Chris Paul, Tony Allen, DeAndre Jordan, Draymond Green, and Kawhi Leonard. That's a pretty good list. Anthony Davis, second team.
It's probably the last good list.
Anthony Davis, Jimmy Butler, Andrew Bogut, John Wall, and Tim Duncan. And
oh shit, Timmy D making the list that late?
What's that?
Motherfucker made the list in 2015. That was 2015, you said?
2016. Oh, 2015. Sorry.
That motherfucker Tim Duncan made second all NBA defensive team.
In his 15th
a
season.
year before his fucking retirement?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tim Duncan, fucking incredible. He has, I think he has the record for the most defensive team, all NBA selections.
In a second. In 2016, you got Kawhi Leonard, Draymond Green, DeAndre Jordan, Avery Bradley, Chris Paul, Paul Millsap, Paul George, Hassan Whiteside, Tony Allen, Jimmy Butler. Like, if you're reading this pattern I'm saying right now, a lot of this is bullshit. It has to do with like, oh, you led the team in blocks, you led the team in steals. To me, just because you lead a team in steals or blocks doesn't necessarily mean you're a defensive leader. Doesn't mean you're controlling the same way we say someone's controlling the offense doesn't mean you're controlling the defense. Like fucking Rudy Gobert next year, first team. 2019, first team.
Damn, we
2020, first team. 2021, Rudy Gobert. Is Rudy Gobert really the defensive guru that everyone is saying he is?
He got played off the floor by Terrence Mann. He couldn't guard the perimeter.
Draymond Green won defensive first player this year, and his fucking team barely made the playoffs.
Well, this is, I don't know. I mean, I still feel like you should be able to reward like individual defense to a degree as well. Just because of like, dude, the way he like defended fucking Anthony Davis.
You're gonna tell me that when Jason Tatum didn't win a fucking All NBA?
Bro, if I would have fucking voted for his ass, shit.
It's just crazy because it's like this is the issue. That's why I'm like, even if Book was playing great defense, he wouldn't have gotten it because like,
I think the ranking of him or the voting has become diluted over the last couple of years. I think defensive player of the year. Tyble, yeah. I think defensive player of the year has become more of a reputation game than anything, and I think all NBA teams. I think when Kobe was at the height of his game, I do believe that because he has some like insane footage of just like his defensive ability.
That was a different time.
That was a different time. But I think since then, remember that year that fucking Klay Thompson didn't get All NBA?
Oh my god!
How?
Yeah.
How? And he got robbed. That was right before a contract extension. So I think it's become a growing issue, like who gets to vote for these All NBA teams. I think it's all narrative based, and to really just like every year it's like not this year because Anthony Davis was hurt, but every year it's like Anthony Davis, Rudy Gobert, another center.
In 2015, like, when DeAndre Jordan won Defensive Player of the Year, that's when everything fell apart, in my opinion.
DeAndre Jordan won Defensive Player of the Year?
Oh, sorry, I meant he was on an all-defensive team.
Yeah, he was an all-NBA
in the running for Defensive Player of the Year, honestly. Like
he was an all-NBA player one season, and you're just like, how the fuck? Like literally, how the fuck?
And it's funny too.
I think that's Chris Paul's accomplishment.
Chris Paul is a good defender. Like.
No, I meant getting DeAndre Jordan on an All-NBA team is Chris Paul's greatest accomplishment.
Yeah, you're right. It's funny too because
one of my favorite. Oh, go ahead.
No,
I just want to say like my favorite quotes ever was Charles Barkley was like, if you lock DeAndre Jordan into a gym until like 6 a.m. the next day and told him he couldn't score that he couldn't score in the paint or with dunks, he'd have 6 points by sunrise.
That's a classic one. I remember that. I'm looking at this year's list. So the second team is Bam Adebayo. Think he belongs?
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler?
I think this year is too reputational.
Yeah.
I don't think he weren't good enough.
Usually, yeah. And also, wasn't he out a ton? Like, that's what I don't...
He was.
Whatever.
Bam
Joel,
Adebayo, I saw him guard like some guys pretty crazy.
yeah, no, for sure. Joel Embiid.
I think Joel Embiid would have been first team had he not been injured. He was a
See,
high impact
to
defender.
me, there has to be some type of qualification for this stuff where it's like if you have to play like 75% of the game. I don't care if people think that's too high of a threshold. I'm like, dude, if you're not available, then what value do you have to a team? I don't understand.
Yeah, especially defensively. What value do you have? That makes no sense.
Yeah. Matisse Thybulle, I didn't watch him, honestly.
He's a really good defender.
Mhm.
The Celtics drafted him and then traded him to the Sixers. I still fucking
Or
hate them for that. For Grant Williams.
Marcus Smart. I'm kidding. Kawhi Leonard, second team. I think they had.
I think that's fair.
I think that's fair. Yeah, him and Paul George both had really good seasons despite the whole memes and all that crap. Which is another stupid thing because I'm like, Paul George probably deserves to be on some of these lists, but like,
Yeah, what is your opinion quickly? Because it's been a big thing. You know, before he said the other day that he feels like he's the most like criticized superstar, like one of the most criticized superstars. I think he was speaking in hyperbole,
yeah.
but I think that there's a. Yeah, I'm curious on your thoughts.
I don't think he meant like all time or like compared to LeBron. Like LeBron, to me, it's clearly LeBron still because it's like the dude has won championships. He's taken a year off. He's been out of the playoffs, and he still somehow is like the topic of the conversation or like someone's unhappy. And part of that whole LeBron narrative too goes to the fact people don't want to see a black man in America be that successful. It goes into the fact they find his fans annoying. It goes into the fact that, you know, like I said,
he wore 23 and he's been chasing the ghost of MJ.
Yeah, or like, and even if you were fucking 12, it wouldn't matter because they're just like, oh, we don't like what's next, and it's like if I told you, I don't know, like the next fucking what's his name? Was on the BET Awards the other day. The white dude.
Oh fuck.
I'm gonna wait till we get this guy's name. What's popping? Brand new whip.
Oh, Jack Harlow.
It's like if I told you Jack Harlow is the next Kid Cudi, you're gonna be like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that's.
You're like, there's no way. But if all the kids are like, no, he's the next Kid Cudi, you're gonna be like, yeah, I don't want to hear that. Like, no matter how, like, he could literally be the next Kid Cudi, write the same way, do the same things, but better, whatever. You'll never be like, he's the next Kid Cudi because that's just that emotional attachment to you. You have, and the thing I always say about MJ is like, he was during a time where there was only 4 fucking channels you could watch. There's only so amount of media. Now there's so many opinions thrown around. Like, who was going to say... And people did criticize MJ. I'm not saying he didn't get criticized, by the way. But...
Yeah.
Who, like, at some point it becomes, once you win a championship, you get access to these people. Where it feels like nowadays it's like you win a championship and they're trying to write your friggin' will. Or like, oh, can you repeat? And it's like, Jesus, can the guy win?
Yeah, back in the day, like, if you didn't want to talk to a reporter, you could be like, all right, have a good one, sir. But, like, you know, you're not getting criticized on talk show radio. Like, talk show radio, like, didn't exist at the time.
No.
Like, it spawned, like, right after the tail end of MJ's reign. And then you don't have Twitter. You don't have these TV shows.
People forget how...
They fucking shat on Kobe.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
Kobe was, like, the birth of that whole thing.
Yeah, especially after the breakup with Shaq. Like, fucking...
And his allegations and all this other stuff.
Yeah, but I definitely think that Paul George... There's a difference where it's like... You have to acknowledge the fact that, like, Paul George, if he starts a quarter, like, 0 for 2, like, Pandemic P is trending on Twitter immediately.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's fucking crazy. Like, the level of... Like, there's a difference between criticism and bullying, and I think if he phrased it, Paul George might be one of the most bullied players in the NBA right now, like by fans.
By ignorant,
I still
casual
think,
fans.
Yeah, deadass. By like just meme gods. But I think what's his name? I think LeBron is still like at the top of the list. You got guys like Kevin Durant for sure, especially after his 2016 free agency decision.
Next time again, he said, "Nah, Pat Beverly more than him."
Fuck Pat Bev.
Yeah, Pat Bev does get it pretty bad. Let me finish this list real quick. So, Rudy Gobert won this year. Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is kind of become... He said C after he said, nah, Pat Bev. That's so true. But Ben Simmons, uh, I don't know how I feel about him defensively, offensively. I'm not seeing everything that everyone else sees with Ben. I know he can clog the lane pretty well on the defensive end, and he can hold people, but it's kind of one of those things where I'm like, people are saying this guy's this great of a defender, then like Jason Tatum drops 40 points on him, and I'm like, I don't know, but
Yeah, I think Ben Simmons has proven to be a better at defending his own teammates from being able to score by holding back their offense.
Please.
He's
All right.
defending. He's stopping Philly from getting a championship.
My
Best
God.
defensive stopper
All right.
in the league.
I'm cutting this bit short. Draymond Green. Again, I think if your team doesn't get win shares, that's tough for me to be like you're a defensive guru. Drew Holiday, in my opinion, was the best defensive player throughout the entire year. I don't remember the last time they've given a guard defensive player of the year.
He just need to suck up and fucking do it, dude. At this
Dude, the Bucks really have to, like, they just elevated when they got him on the team, you know?
yeah.
And honestly, even those Nets series, like, everyone's like, oh, they got hurt, but he was kind of putting the clamps on a lot of people before that, too. And then Giannis. Giannis is the last one.
Giannis for sure. Giannis is always going to be in the conversation because he's one of the greatest help defenders, like, in the league and maybe of all time.
Hot take. Giannis is going to be the best player in the entire league as soon as he gets a jump shot, which is next year.
Wait, hot take, bro? You've been literally saying the same shit as fucking. I've been saying this shit for like 30 years.
It's a hot take because
I'm just
it's
hoping.
not going to happen.
Oh fuck! I'm hoping Giannis is able to come back healthy. I want to see him in the NBA Finals. I've decided, I want to see a healthy Giannis in the NBA Finals. I want to just see what happens.
I'm glad he got hurt because, well, not
That's fucked up.
Well, not like glad he's got hurt, but I'm saying like I'm glad he has this excuse of his injury because I want to see Atlanta win, and I think Atlanta was going to win regardless, personally, because like I said, I just think this defensive matchup is not working for them, and for some reason Milwaukee keeps relying on threes, and I think it's because they had it in the regular season, but they just are not falling, and I think Atlanta, those shots are falling for them. So I had Atlanta winning anyway, but I didn't want that smut to be on Giannis's name of like losing again. So I think the injury will help him get out of that.
I think that the reason why Atlanta beat.
It's never quick.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I think the reason why Atlanta beat Milwaukee last game and would have beaten them if Giannis played was because they spent all this time game planning to stop a Trae Young-led offense. Mm-hmm. And when a person is pulled out of a lineup, the game plan always goes out the window, and they always throw you for a curveball. Same thing happened years ago when the Celtics lost Isaiah Thomas, and everyone's like, the fucking Cavaliers are gonna sweep the Celtics, and they somehow beat them in game 3 or some shit. Because you can't game plan for that sometimes. But we would have seen them make the adjustments, but I don't know if a hobbled Bogdanovich would have been able to carry them all the way. But like you said, we'll never know.
Right, I got 2% left on one of my laptops here, but
shit.
I think the Atlanta Hawks versus the Suns will be interesting, especially from my pockets because I betted on the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawkets. But
what about Trey's fucking bone spurs, bro?
I think he's coming back. It's just a fucking bone thing. Like, put some ice on it. Fucking wuss.
Put some ice on it, bro. Drink some milk, dog.
Yeah, for real, dog. But nah, I think they'll be fine. It's gonna be a good NBA Finals. I think everyone who's crying about the ratings doesn't really like basketball because this has been really good basketball. And dude, I understand when it's like, Memphis Grizzlies versus the Cavaliers in the finals. But honestly, that's a bad example because they have shooters. But you get my point. Is like, both these teams still have people who can dunk, play really good defense, hit the three, and I'm like, well, what else do you want? Like, isn't it kind of cool to see Bogdanovich go off or like Chris Middleton become Michael Jordan. Like, you don't really see that too often anymore with these role players. Like, one thing your dad always complains about, he's like, dude, back in the day, these role players and bench players could like actually come in and hit a shot. And
Exactly.
like, it's kind of nice to see that. It's like, I don't know if it's the bubble that changed everyone's mentality, but it feels like the role players and bench players are meeting the moment unless they play with LeBron James or Kevin Durant. But yeah, that's my final point.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think the role players are just getting better. Like, we're getting these new guys are coming out. A lot of young impact players have like stepped up. Like Kevin Herter in Game 7. Like Game 7, Kevin Herter, bro. Like, I never thought I would have heard that shit, but I witnessed it. I watched it. So
I'll never forget.
Should be fun.
I'll never forget Chris Middleton becoming Michael Jordan. She never will.
For like 2 minutes, bro.
I mean, this guy just
literally scored
torching
20 points in the fourth quarter.
It's crazy.
Fuck.
But all right, that's all we got for you. I know it was a little longer. I can't believe we used to do a friggin' hour and a half show all the time. Like, really exhausting. But join us next week. Thank you. If you are still listening, we will be watching Gossip Girl. There's going to be some promo up for that.
Fucking fire, dude.
That's going to be a lot of fun watching that for the first time. So hold off before you get HBO Max and get your little trial and all that. But, all right, man. I'm Tyrone again. This is
Matt.
And we are the Circle Club Show. Take care. Check out my podcast. Goodbye.